to address. Accusation number one. This attack was contained in an article written by Tipper Gore, which was given the form of a full page in my hometown newspaper on Long Island. In this article, Ms. Gore claimed that one of my songs, Under the Blade, had lyrics encouraging sadomasochism, bondage, and rape. The lyrics she quoted have absolutely nothing to do with these topics. On the contrary, the words in question are about surgery and the fear that it instills in people. Furthermore, the reader of this article is led to believe that the three lines she quotes go together in the song, when, as you can see from reading the lyrics, the first two lines she cites are an edited phrase from the second verse, and the third line is a misquote of a line from the chorus. That the writer could misquote me is curious, since we make it a point to print all our lyrics on the inner sleeve of every album. As the creator of Under the Blade, I can say categorically that the only sadomasochism, bondage, and rape in this song is in the mind of Ms. Gore.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
D.
Preach.
Snyder giving it to him.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Another episode of Big Talk with Chris and Greg. This is Chris.
This is Greg.
We're back. We're going to talk about some music censorship, album cover censorship.
There you go.
PMRC.
Stickers.
The stickers, the parental advisory. We're going to talk about it all today. And we're just glad that you're back with us for another episode.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Nation.
Thank you. Big Talk Nation is holding down strong.
Yes.
You can get a hold of us on Twitter at Big Talk CG. Email bigtalkcg@gmail.com. We actually have made an adjustment or an edit to our Instagram handle. It is now bigtalkcg.podcast.
Nice.
So you're probably going to find it if you just search Big Talk CG, but bigtalkcg.podcast, so everybody knows exactly what we are. So
all right.
We're a podcast.
Nice. Is there anything else you want to say to the listeners that's new for us?
Oh, yes, I do, Greg. I do want to say something. We are now officially available on Apple Podcasts.
Yes. That's what I wanted to hear, baby.
All you iOS listeners that have been wanting to hear it on Apple Podcasts, can listen to it now and, tell all your friends.
There you go.
And, I'm an Android user, but I do have Apple TV, and I brought it up today on the TV and had it going on in the background listening to the 12-year-old and the 10-year-old read some emails from last episode. And, just being able to hear myself was kind of a trip.
Over the TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I did the same thing.
Like, wow, not only am I an internet sensation, I'm a TV sensation.
Worldwide.
It's kind of amazing if you think about it for a second. It's the internet, and it's worldwide, and anybody can listen to you. As we now know, anybody can listen to us, because not only, as we said a couple episodes, we have listeners in the UK and France. We now have, Greg, you can tell them.
Argentina.
We have
Nice.
listeners in Argentina, so we're reaching out. We're reaching out, and we have no one to thank but the Big Talk Nation.
Yes, thank you very much.
Getting the word out.
Still nothing in Japan?
Well, we're big in Japan already.
All right.
We're already big there, dude. It's huge. It's huge. Just like KNAC.
There you go.
And Anvil.
And
And Big Talk. So going back to what we heard at the opening, that was D. Snyder, the lead singer of Twisted Sister, when they went in front of, I think it was Congress or the Senate. They had a little hearing that they were doing. It was involving the PMRC.
I think it was a Senate's Committee of Commerce was held the
Yeah,
hearing.
it was Commerce, Transportation, and something else. And what they were trying to do here, guys, was there was a group. I guess maybe we should kind of start from the beginning.
Yes.
And then maybe get into it. There was a group of wives, but they came to be known as the Washington Wives. There were 4 of them. And the main one, the leader, was Tipper Gore, who was the wife, is now the ex-wife of Al Gore. And at that point, he was a senator. Was he a senator or a congressman? I don't remember exactly. All I know is that he had not invented the internet yet.
Okay.
He was not the vice president. But his wife at the time, Tipper Gore, as the story goes, I think we mentioned it in an earlier episode when we were talking about albums, soundtracks. We were
Yes.
talking about the Purple Rain album. And what had happened is that she bought the album to listen and was listening to it with her 11-year-old daughter. And the song, everything was fine until the song Darling Nikki came on. And Darling Nikki is a song where that has the line, starts talking about a woman in a hotel room, a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. And that just totally flipped it for her, and she couldn't believe what she was hearing.
Correct.
So then she decided at that point that something needed to be done to protect the youth of this nation from these lyrics and this music and obscenities, and nothing could be more harmful to the youth of America than music lyrics, apparently.
I guess so.
And she started the PMRC, which is the Parent Music Resource Center.
Correct.
And she started with, obviously, like I had said before, with 4 other females, the Washington Wives. They had husbands that held political power in Washington. One was a real estate mogul. A couple were in politics, so on and so forth. But basically what they wanted to do was really censor music for America,
Right.
and kind of, under the ruse of, oh, we're doing it for the kids. I don't know if they had alternative motives. Some think that they do, and there was
think they
some
did.
testimony, in particular Frank Zappa, who also testified at the same hearing that we just
Correct.
heard, Dee Snider, who said that he felt as though it was really a ruse to get some legislation through. For whatever reason, I didn't really look into that aspect as much. I don't know. Maybe you have it in your novel over there.
No. John Denver was there too.
Yeah, John Denver,
was
Rocky
there.
Mountain High or whatever. Yeah.
He was there also throwing his 2 cents into the wind with these guys on their hearing and stuff like that. So it just wasn't rock and roll, man. It was, musicians that wanted to say, something that, don't edit our art. Don't, we do this, we do that. Sometimes it's not good to,
I think that
edit us.
It's not good to edit and censor and tell people what they can see, what they can't say, what they can or cannot listen to. I think what it came down to was people didn't think that 2 things. One, why can you tell me what I can say and what I can't say, and what can be on my album cover and what can't be on my album cover, and what I can write about and what I can write about? But also, who are you to tell me what's right and wrong for my kids? Or
Right.
who are you to tell me as a citizen that of the United States, at what age can I see or cannot listen to what I want to listen to?
Correct.
And that was kind of the issue at hand. But first, just quick, I just want to throw this out there because not only do we want to educate the nation, I'm just going to go ahead and read you the First Amendment because almost all this is pertaining to like First Amendment rights, freedom of speech and stuff. So let me just read the First Amendment to you
Okay.
right here. So this is the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a readiness of grievances. So basically, that's your First Amendment, your freedom of speech. You can't tell me what I can and cannot say. Do you have to pay consequences for what you say? Yes. We're not saying you're not going to have to pay the consequences. We're just saying, let me say what I want to say.
Yeah, which still goes on today, whether it's political, whether it's art, whether it's just someone going out there and outside and just saying, I like this, I like that, I hate this, I hate that. There's consequences to everything that we do say and your actions. Sometimes you have to own them. On what the PMRC, they wanted to do what the MPAA, which was the movie industry, they wanted to do the ratings like the X rating for profanity or sexuality, explicit lyrics, O was for occult reference. D or A for the lyrics about drugs and alcohol, or V for violence. So that's what they were looking for. Is they wanted to have some kind of code that would tell people what they're in for on when they purchased or when they listened to the album. What may come before them. It's just like when you go to the movies, what the rating is. Well, it's R for language and something, language and smoking, PG-13. We advise that 13 and over should be watching it, not 13 and under, and regular PG, family rated, and then G, good for everybody. That type of stuff.
And you know what? At a certain there's a level where I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to educate parents. That's the word parents.
Yeah.
About what's on this music, what it's about, what we think is damaging to the youth, what we think are the things they should be listening to. I get it. I get it. And I almost borderline agree that, yes, you should let the parents know. But here's the thing about it. The parents were not the ones buying the music. The kids are buying the music. And when you make something forbidden, you want what's forbidden.
Correct. That's definitely true on that one. But you're right. The parents are buying the music. Shouldn't have the parents been editing themselves? Previous?
Let me ask you this, Greg. Let me ask you a question.
Got it.
How many albums have you bought, or tapes, CDs, albums, digital downloads have you bought yourself? You, Greg, bought.
Thousands.
How many have your mom or your dad ever bought for you?
To be honest, I'm going to say 3.
Okay. So there's 3 out of it. So we're talking like 0.003%. My math is probably wrong. It could be 3/100, but basically less than 1%.
Exactly. Less than
how
1%.
Do they know what you're listening to? I don't think my parents have ever bought me an album ever. Actually, I think I got George Michael's Faith on tape for Christmas one year. I think that was the only thing I ever got.
That's the one your dad approved of?
That was, he probably didn't approve of that. He's probably like, nah, dude, look at that guy's beard. Look at that guy's beard. My dad's
Look at his hair.
My dad said, if you want to grow a beard, grow one like mine. Look at this. It's all thick and luscious.
There you go.
Yeah, he didn't approve of the beard. So, but that's I get what they were trying to do. I get the attempt. But Rambo drinking water again, guys in the background. So these guys are the 3-man show. We're gonna have to put them on a T-shirt or something.
One of the many staples of Big Talk.
Big drink.
Big.
So I get what they were saying. I get what they were trying to do. But when it comes down to it, like I remember going to, I remember specifically going to the record store in the mall, buying a tape. It was, Greg, don't hold it against me. It was a rap tape.
Okay.
DJ Quick. Had a parental sticker on it or printed on. I think at that point they were printing them on. The guy behind the counter asked me if I was old enough to buy it. I said yes, and he sold it to me, and I wasn't. So there was nothing being, there was, on a larger scale, there was nothing being done to prohibit the sale. It was all, the record retailers were not really going to do anything. There were some, I mean, we're going to get into it probably later about all the stuff that was going on in Florida, because it wasn't just about, record sales. They had the performances and all that stuff about Two Live Crew and stuff. But, no one was their business is in the business of making money.
Correct.
So they're not going to not sell their records.
Well, a similar story. My wife used to work at Music Plus, and she told me the same thing as I'm prepping for the show, where she said that she remembers that when the Snoop Dogg album was released, it was behind the counters, and people wanted to buy it. She said she never checked IDs or never asked questions to say, can I get a Snoop Dogg CD or tape or whatever? And she would just sell it to them. I mean, it's one of those things that you just, okay, think as you're a kid in a record store. So I was a kid at a record store that I, was an employee there. And, did you check things? Well, of course I worked at the video part, so I didn't let the pornography go out the door from a younger kid. But, if it was a PMRC stickered CD or tape, whatever. It's not like
Well, let me ask you this. So we're talking about face-to-face interactions. I mean,
face-to-face interactions.
Nowadays, it's not really about going into the record store. That's not where the transactions are happening. Where the transactions happening digitally.
Correct.
So you're telling me all I got to do is enter that I'm 18 when I sign up for an account, and that's it? How are we verifying that? Can I just download any explicit lyric thing that I want and it comes with the album cover, and I could be 12?
Well, you know what? Spotify has a button that, parental advisory, where you just click it to the left or to the right, or they just blocks it.
Who's clicking it?
I don't know. I click it to the left, so I mean, I want to hear everything.
I hear you're always
give me all the
clicking.
dirty
You're always
lyrics.
clicking to the left. but I mean, kids are going to hear things at their school. Somebody in their school is going to have it.
Correct.
Somebody's going to hear it. They're going to hear
Correct.
it somewhere. And so as a parent, I'm not like, especially, that's not one of my biggest worries is the music they're hearing, that for me as a parent, I'm not really concerned about what they're hearing because they're going to hear it at the school. They're going to see it. The news, it's true. The news is worse. And I have my kids
Correct.
watch the news every morning when they're getting ready for school so they know what's going on in the world so they can have an intellectual conversation with anybody at their school. So, but I digress from that point. But, what I was kind of saying is, it's at this point in 2021, it's a little bit harder to kind of keep it out of the kids' hands where it was all over the counter. It was all personal.
Correct.
But now it's like anybody can basically get whatever they want. It's all
Correct.
It's I remember that me and you, there was a point there where me and you online were trading music, this is 10, 15 years ago. And so kids can just do that now. They just trade digitally.
Spotify does offer non-explicit versions. So 2 versions may come out on Spotify. One will say content and the other one will say
this is a conversation where I wish we had the 12-year-old here so she could just tell us, yes, I listened to this one or that one. So maybe next episode we'll get her on here so we can kind of maybe add on, have a little, hey, let's go back for a second. We just want to ask you some questions and kind of just add some context to it. But, kind of going back to the PMRC with Tipper Gore kind of leading that charge, their big thing that they came out with at that time, and I love the alliteration, the Filthy 15.
Oh, yeah. Little filthy.
So what these were, guys, it was 15 songs that they deemed inappropriate. And I don't say this sarcastically. They deemed these songs inappropriate for the youth of America.
That's correct.
And they fell under different reasons why they felt that they were inappropriate, these songs. So the Filthy 15, do you want me to just read through them or do you want to talk about each one as we go?
Let's talk about each one.
Okay. So let's go ahead and, I don't know if we kind of already talked about it before, but the first one, kind of the one that started it all, was Prince's Darling Nikki.
Correct.
And
okay.
it's so guys, basically the kind of thing, like Gregg had said, how he talked about the rating system, they kind of fell under that. Sex / masturbation, violence, the V for violence, DA for drugs and alcohol, O for occult. Correct. Those are basically kind of the categories they did all these under. So Prince's song Darling Nikki was kind of like a sex masturbation thing. That was the one that kind of started the ball rolling. Correct
on that one. And that was from 1984, Purple Rain.
Yes. And when you listen to that song, I mean, when I first heard it, I guess it wasn't really a standout track. I almost feel like sometimes they're going looking for this stuff, at times, because it's kind of like that song never was on the radio. It was, I believe, and I'm going to have to go pull up my record maybe. I think it was even actually on the side 2. It was like song 1 or 2 on the second side.
Correct.
Or the end of the first side. So it wasn't something you were really like hearing because the hits were not around it.
Correct. I want to say side 2, song 1.
I think it was side 2.
Yeah. So did you know that at the end of Prince's life that he became a Jehovah's Witness?
I did not know that.
And he decided to take Darling Nikki out of his playlist set for Play Music Live. And he also didn't let other artists that wanted to cover it, he just said, no, I'm not gonna. He advised not to do it, such as bands such as the Foo Fighters, Rihanna, and the comedian Maya Rudolph. She was, doing some comedian stuff, and they kind of wanted to do Darling Nikki, and he kind of said, nah, please don't do it. Don't use it.
Well, let me ask you this, not to steal your thunder. Okay, he didn't like Darling, but what about the song Get Off? That he did. Remember he did that song Get Off?
Yeah.
22 positions in a one night stand. Was he letting people do that? Was he still performing that? I bet he was.
Probably.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Prince is great though. I love Prince.
Now,
I'm not talking bad about him. I love Prince. He's great. He's great.
Now, up to our knowledge, the last time I looked at Prince's Purple Rain was 13 times platinum. That's awesome, dude. I mean, wow. That has to be his staple of a record.
That means at least 13 million people have heard that song.
Exactly. And overdubbed and dubbed and whatever stream is like. I mean, whatever they did on top of that. And that's just sold, not streaming wise.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
It's a when you look at it, I mean, yeah, can we pick part, the PMRC can go be like this, but when you look at it as a whole body of work, it's an amazing album. It's amazing. So moving on, number 2 on my list, and I know our lists are probably written down differently, but number 2 on my list was a protege of Prince, and now looking over at yours, I think it's the same one. It was Sheena Easton, Sugar Walls. And I just want to tell everybody right now, like we've said before, our memories aren't the best. So I did listen to all of these songs today. When I was, on the internet, surfing around, doing some PMRC, reading some stuff, doing this and that. I did have these songs all playing. And when this song came on, I was like, God, I remember, that was a good pop song. I remember that during the 80s. It was like, Sheena Easton, she was kind of sexy and kind of like, as a kid, you were like, oh yeah, dude, she's sexy. But then I started listening to the lyrics and I was like, yep, this song is definitely about sex.
Right.
The thing is, though, when I was a kid, I didn't think that.
Correct.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Someone else had to put that in my mind. Just like Dee Snider said at the beginning of our podcast. All of that is only in Tipper Gore's mind. It wasn't in my mind when I was listening to the song. By the time I could put 2 and 3 together and make 5, I was already, older.
Yeah. I'm going, ooh, yeah, Sugar Walls.
I think it's a great pop song, though.
Nice.
I think it's a great pop song.
Nice.
And we're gonna either list all these songs or put maybe some clips up and let everybody know the songs and the videos that we're talking about, and so everybody can kind of see them as throughout the week after we release this.
Yeah. Continuing with Prince, he has one more song on the 50-15 from Vanity, Strap On Robbie Baby. This is in 1984. He was dating Vanity at the time, and she went solo, but she was also part of his musical group Vanity 6. And I think Vanity decided after Vanity 6 disbanded, she decided to go on her solo on this, and this was about an ex-boyfriend that she started to do the song about.
Vanity, I love Vanity. She was. I don't remember her as a musician. I guarantee you're gonna agree with me when I say this. I don't remember her from her music. I remember her from The Last Dragon, from the movie, the Berry Gordy Last Dragon, Bruce Leroy.
Oh, no way.
She was the love interest.
Wow.
That's all I remember her from.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring this up to you. Do you know Vanity had
a relationship with
relationship with a
Nikki
few.
Sixx.
Okay,
Nikki
also
Sixx is what I was gonna say.
Do you know who also it just wasn't, she was romantically involved with Adamant.
That makes sense.
Billy Idol.
That makes sense.
And then she was at one time the fiance of Nikki Sixx. And it's all in his book at that time.
Yeah, you cannot go ahead, keep going.
Well, I was at the book at the time where he was I think the part where he died, that he was dating her at the time, and those two were two train wrecks that shouldn't have been together. Yeah, they collided. They shouldn't have been together, but he was using, she was using. It just fit at the time of his.
And the book you're talking about is Heroin Diaries by
Correct.
Nikki Sixx. If you guys don't know who Nikki Sixx is, he was a bass player for Motley Crue, and he wrote. He's written a couple books, but Heroin Diaries, dude, it's basically what happened is he was strung out on heroin for a while, and he actually wrote a diary daily. And
Yeah.
He's been sober for decades now.
Yes.
And he found the notebooks and his diaries in storage and decided to print them as a book. And then he also narrates on the side about kind of now looking back on it. And man, it's an intense read, and it's one of those books you just can't put down. I've read it, and it's great. It's great. And yeah, you're right. Dude,
Didn't we read it close to the same time you were reading? I was reading it, and we're kind of.
I think we were reading it at the same time.
BSing about it, on that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, if you didn't know, Vanity also turned to Christ, and she's a Christian now.
Yeah.
And she changed her back to her regular name or maiden name or her birth name, and doesn't associate with the
Her
Vanity
name isn't
anymore.
Vanity?
No. Can you do that?
That's. Let's go back to Public Enemy number 1, I guess. Let's go back to Dee Snider. They also had
All right.
a song
Hell,
on this
heck yeah,
list.
man.
Twisted Sisters, We're Not Gonna Take It. V for Violence.
V for violence.
Now, I remember this being like a staple of MTV back in the day when I
Correct.
got to watch it when I
Yes.
was at Grandma's house. And I couldn't describe it better than Dee Snider describes it. It is basically a Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote cartoon brought to life.
Exactly.
How can you look at this or hear it and think it's inciting violence or it's a violent song at all? I've never gotten that. I've never been able to look at it skewed through any sight or any eyes of saying, like, you know what? I think you might be right. I get your kind of point, kind of. I don't see it at all.
So when Dee Snider was talking, he also talked about the PMC. They may have confused the video presentation of that song with the lyrics, with the meaning of the lyrics at the time. And at the time, the video was cartoon violence. Mm-hmm. Cartoon violence. It didn't say anything violent of we're not gonna take it as we're taking a stand against this.
He said at one point, he was asked about the whole situation and how the PMRC came after him about the video, and he said, kind of paraphrasing what we had said, it was a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner situation. He said, each stunt was selected from my extensive personal collection of cartoons. So
correct.
It's kind of, that's exactly what they were. Watch the video. He falls through a window. Then he gets up, brushes the glass and everything off him. Now it's on to the next one. Perfectly fine. Just like Wile E. Coyote.
Correct.
I don't get it. It's like, take a chill pill.
Yeah,
Take a chill pill.
I think the violence is, the father yelling or blah blah blah, or the kids, all around the table. Then all of a sudden, these geeks turn into all these monsters of Twisted Sister.
What do you want to do with your life?
Yeah,
I want to rock.
I want to rock. One thing I want to say about Dee Snider was that, as a parent, I think he's done great because he's also quoted saying when his kids wanted to listen to Eminem, he sat down and listened to the album and then talked it over with his kids. And I was like, wow, that's a good parent on something like that. And another thing was, so him and his family got into a band called Tenacious D, which is Kyle Gass and Jack Black.
Yeah.
They did a musical duo. They have a song on their first album called Fuck Her Gently. Now, he decided to make a tape for his 8-year-old daughter, just take that song out. Like all the other songs on that record are perfectly fine for them, but he just kind of took that song out and made a tape for his daughter so she can listen to everything except that song. And as a parent, that's the smart thing to do.
I think, yeah.
That's a great example of what he was talking about, of saying if parents don't like it, take it out. You talk it over with your children. You discuss it with them. If you don't want them to hear it, you take it out. Don't let somebody else tell you to take it out.
And that's a point that I think everybody that was opposing the PMRC was making, was like, don't tell us. We'll handle it. We'll handle it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to another song from this Filthy 15. Let's talk about, we were just talking about Nikki. Let's talk about Motley Crue.
Yeah.
The song "Bastard" from the Shout of the Devil album, 1983.
Yeah.
I love this song, and I wish they would play it live because it's just
Aggressive, live,
and fast, and yeah, it's the lyrics are, you know, pulling out a knife, stabbing someone. Okay, I get it, but I just don't think that it should be someone else's job to tell me what I can have my kids listen to. Being a parent now, I'm 45. I would let my kids listen to it because you know what? I don't think that they're gonna sit there and listen like ears to the speaker. Oh my God, I'm not afraid that my kids are gonna hear that and be like, oh, that must be okay. It's in a rock song. I'm gonna go stab somebody.
Correct. You listen to. I know you listen to music with your kids in there. Is there songs that sometimes you kind of change real fast?
Yes, there are, and as you know, there's some music that, you know, we've been in the car. It's mostly the thing now with kids. You know, it's I guess hip hop.
Yeah.
R&B. Maybe not some. There's what's her name? Cardi B.
Okay. I'm unfamiliar with that, so that's all you.
She has a song called WAP.
Okay.
WAP. I was not fond of my daughter hearing it, but by the time I knew about it, she had already heard it. Then there's some other stuff. You know, we might be driving in a car listening to like a 90s hip hop mix, and may not be a song I'm familiar with. My wife will be familiar with it. She'll be like, skip it. So yeah, I mean, we aren't just letting them listen to anything.
Okay, good. See,
It's not like you know, if I feel it's like, nah, skip it. We'll play it on the safe side.
You kind of know what they're gonna say. Just what like Two Live Crew. So I'm sure if you happen to
what, at a certain level, and I don't want to sound ignorant when I say this, and I hope I'm not, because I'm not meaning to sound ignorant. I think that a lot of times hip hop is really lyrically driven. It's all about what they're saying in the lyrics.
Okay.
Where in rock, there's so much musicianship going on that a lot of times I don't even really listen to the lyrics. I'm like, dude, that guitar is awesome. Dude, listen to that. Listen to the backbeat with the bass and the drums. Dude, listen to that bass guitar through the song. It's like sometimes I'm not even paying attention to what they're saying.
Are you sure not just listen to the solo?
I love the guitar solo, but it's you understand what I'm saying. It's like I think a lot of times in certain music, certain things are more prominent, and I think in R&B, hip hop, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, in my opinion, that I think that those things are more prominent in those musics, whereas in rock music, where they're playing instruments, the vocals are an instrument.
Yeah.
And you hear a lot of the other stuff. So sometimes, like, I remember being a kid and not even knowing oh my God, the song's called Bastard. I didn't even know what it was about. I wasn't sitting there going like, oh, let me listen to it. I was like, oh, dude, this is fast. The drums are heavy. Listen to the guitars. The chorus, Bastard. And I was like, I didn't know.
You know what? I have to agree with you with the sense of R&B is very sexually driven, or a lot of like to be close, to make love, to, you know.
I love making love.
You know, those are the types of, you know, when you want to get down and dirty with your lady, you put some little bit of R&B on to you know, make her, or make sure you guys are in the mood. It's not my style, but
it's not my style either.
So, but you know, to me, that's what I've known over the years what R&B is. They talk a lot about relationships, talk a lot about sex, talk a lot about, you know, going into this and doing that kind of stuff, singing, that kind of stuff. And then, you know, mostly rap is about, or hip hop, the ladies and the hoes. You know, let's stick with Motley Crue, man. So Motley Crue, did you know at the time when the PMRC put Bastard on the list, did you know it was double platinum at the time?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when they decided to put this list, Motley Crue, shout out the devil, went double platinum.
I love it.
Right?
Let's sell some records.
Let's sell some records.
You know what? One song that I really, as surprising as this may sound to you guys, that I wasn't that familiar with, that I didn't really listen to, until today. I was like, oh, I don't think I've heard this. Was the Black Sabbath song Trashed?
Right. I didn't
And
know how
I
this
was
thing
like-
landed up on
And as
this.
soon as I heard it started playing, here's the thing. So Ian sang that one album in between. Was it
Ozzy
it
and
was in
Dio.
between Ozzy and Dio.
Correct.
And I heard the music and I go, this doesn't sound like something Ozzy's going to be able to sing to. And then I said to myself, it doesn't sound like the Ronnie James Dio is going to sing to this. And I was like, oh my God, dude, is this that one album? Like that was the album that everybody kind of glazes over. It's like, eh. And then because Ronnie James Dio and Ozzy are so great. I mean, Ian's great too. But I listened to the song. It's not their best work, but the lyrics are straight up drinking and driving. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, wow. This is, what maybe they have a point on this one. Then I read into, the thing is that there's a lot of times when the PMRC was talking about songs, there's not a lot of context. The thing about this song was, it wasn't just about drinking and driving. It was about the fact that I think it was the drummer, Bill Ward.
Okay.
Him and one of the other people in the band, I can't remember which one, so I won't say, where they were racing around the record studio. There was a track out where they were recording. They were racing around, and they were both drinking. They got in an accident. That's what the song's about.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
about, don't do this shit. You know, which a lot of the times, dude, I don't think that these metal and rock musicians get enough credit for, like, hey, dude, learn from our mistake. One song I'm surprised is not on here, and I think you would agree with me, is Suicide Solution.
Right.
I do not
Ozzy got
understand how that song is not on. It should be like number one.
But Ozzy always said it wasn't about suicide. It was anti-suicide.
Yeah, it was about how you can die a slow death by drinking. It's not going to happen right now. It's not suicide is the solution. Alcohol is a solution, as in a liquid solution. It's a term.
Correct.
Suicide solution. And I honestly can't believe it's on it, because you hear that song and you're like,
Yeah. Well, they
that
could
falls right into the PMRC's pocket right there.
they could have flip flop for this one.
Yeah.
Man, from trash to that. Now, did you know? Well, let me tell you first thing. On the album cover from Born Again, which that song is from, I would have thought that would have been one of those band covers, because he was like a baby with horns.
That's a weird
and-
like Devil Baby cover or something. It's like the
Yeah.
blue and the blue background with the red thing. Yeah,
Correct. Now, did you know that Black Sabbath did a video for Trashed?
I did not.
And MTV didn't play it because it was lewd. They said, you know, they did a video.
Oh, you know what? I'm looking at my notes that I copied and pasted. Yeah, I copied and pasted from the website. It said the band admitted that the accompanying video was intentionally lewd. That's
Yeah.
the last line on my notes.
Exactly. But I mean, still, so we're going to do a video. It just gets banned. I never knew they had a video for that. Maybe we can find it nowadays on.
Maybe we can find it and
YouTube.
post it. It's not lewd anymore.
It's not lewd anymore.
I mean, it's kind of funny how things were like lewd or just inappropriate back in the day, or like passe today. It's kind of crazy.
Correct. Can we? Let me start off with another song and band that I know is on this Filthy 15, which is Wasp. The name of the song is called Animal, and it's called Fuck Like a Beast.
Yes.
That song, you know what? This came from 1984. So it was profanity, sexual explicit lyrics. Now, in the 1980s, Wasp was a band from Los Angeles that WASP stand for We Are Sexual Perverts. That's what kind of Blackie said. Maybe it was wasp the insect, but when people started to come to the shows and they kind of just, you know, it's very similar to Kiss. We are Satan's servants. Maybe they spent wasp. Oh, well, yeah, we're talking about we are sexual perverts and we love this and this. So, of course, the song Animal, Fuck Like a Beast, is about sex. There's no denying it. The single, which was not on the debut album because Capitol Records decided not to put it on as a single, it definitely was an import. And, you know, it probably sold a ton of records just for being that. I was talking to one of my buddies, our buddy, Eric Perkins. Eric, what's up? he was telling me that he had a picture disc of Wasp's Animal Fuck Like a Beast still at his house that he still owns. Picture disc, bro. You know, just a single.
I think I have some like a 45 or something.
Yeah,
of
it's a
that
45.
song
Yeah.
in my collection over here. I'm gonna have to see if I can break it out.
Whoa.
I haven't looked through my 45s in a while, and I think I got something from them in there.
What's a 45?
Revolutions per minute. You know, it's funny. They talk. You know, you talk about that, and the cover for that album had, I would think, Blackie Lawless because he wore it in the concerts. The cod piece, which is like a cup, like an athletic cup, and it had like a saw blade on it, like a circular saw blade. And he said,
Correct.
he was like, he always said like, how can anybody take anybody seriously? They'd be walking around like this. Like it's, how are you taking it seriously?
Exactly.
And I don't know.
Now, you know, in the 80s when this was going on, shock rock was at an odd place. At this time, Alice Cooper was going new wave. Kiss was starting to take their makeup off. So Wasp decided,
it up.
yeah, so Wasp decided to, you know, turn it to 12 and, you know, do something funky. So, you know, they would quote unquote torture women on stage. They would throw blood into the audience. They really went for that shock rock value, you know, of doing crazy stuff and stuff like that. Like I said, and the major release refused to put it, the Capitol Records refused to put it on their major release. But, you know, it's on the import and it probably sold as a, you know, 12-inch single.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. Let's go back.
Here, but before we
Go
move
ahead.
on, but one last thing. So we know that Frank Zappa was part of the Senate thing with Dee and John Denver. So Blackie said he also wanted to show up at the time, but Frank Zappa told him, "Be glad you weren't there because it was a dog and pony show." You know, something simple, talking to somebody else and saying, "You know, dude, I know you wanted to be there and say say what you wanted to say, but be glad you weren't there. It wasn't worth it."
Yeah.
You know, that type of stuff. Yeah.
So it's not all metal, it's not all rock, but you know, kind of in the vein of you know the Sheena Easton song we was talking about earlier was another one on the Filthy 15. Madonna, she
Right?
shows up on here. Dress you up. Gonna dress you up in my love, all over your body. That is the song, and that was on point, guys. So,
What? Not like a virgin?
no, I know. It's
Not like a virgin?
It's like, why did they pick this song? Why did they pick that song? Like a virgin. I was like, what's a virgin when I was a kid? My mom said they're up to nothing. That's, I guess, you know, she's true. All right. You know, these are those songs where I guess if you're looking for something, you're going to find it. Just like Dee Snider said, if you're looking for sadomasochism, you're going to find it. If you're looking for medical, I don't know, not necessarily terminology, but the things that happen in an operating room, you're going to find that too. Depends on what angle
Right.
you're doing it. So dress you up in my love. I'm just going to, why can't that be just, I'm going to hug you and dress you up in my love and you're going to be the one for me. I love you. Instead it's,
Or come on over. We're going dancing. We're gonna
do you
go.
say the word come?
Yeah, come over.
Oh, okay.
Like girls talking about, come over to our house. We're gonna go out clubbing with the ladies and let's kind of dress similar. Dress you up.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow, I don't know about that, but okay.
did you know that
I did.
Tipper Gore praised Madonna because of the song Papa Don't Preach. So in the flip side of her putting her Dress You Up on the Filthy 15, she also said the song Papa Don't Preach was very knowledgeable for the youth of today. So she actually said, "You suck," and also said, "You're pretty good."
What do you think about it? What do you think, Greg?
On Papa Don't Preach? I don't know. It's one of you know what? Artists are artists, and they want to sing about something, and they want to say, "Hey, you know what? Don't do drugs. Suicide solution. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do this. Don't have sex. Don't have premature sex or without being married. That type of stuff." If artists want to say it, great. If artists don't want to say it, great. They want to say the positive. They want to say the negative of it. Both things. It's the artist perception of what they want to say to the world or put what they want to do about their art. I'm all for it. I mean, you could tell me, hey, we're gonna go rob somebody, and then the next song, hey, we're gonna help an old lady across the street. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, the song Papa Don't Preach It, which is not on the list that we're talking about right now. That was I believe the lyrics were Papa don't preach, I made up my mind, I'm keeping my baby.
Correct.
So she's basically, I would think, late teens, early 20s, youth. I'm pregnant. I'm not married. This is the father. No, I'm not getting rid of it. I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
That's what the song was about. So that's kind of interesting because you would, I guess, anti-abortion.
Correct.
Anti-abortion, if you look at it that way, but maybe just not doing it at all.
No, anti-abortion.
Okay. Let's move on to the next song. So go ahead, Greg. What do you want to say?
I was going to say the next song should be Cyndi Lauper's She Bop.
I was just going to that one.
Okay, good, because it still says in the same, girl realm.
Girl pop kind of thing.
Correct. Which was about masturbation. Now, to be honest with you, Chris, I didn't really listen to Cyndi Lauper. Girl just want to have fun.
Whatever was on MTV.
Whatever was on MTV.
Whatever
right?
was on MTV.
So She Bop, I think the worst thing I remember is she had shaved head or had a design in her hair shaved.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much about it, but years later on they said masturbation, and I was kind of like, what? She Bop? And then she bopped herself, and so that's why you're right, as kids, of not knowing or understanding things until someone explains it to you. Was it like, oh, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't think that song was about anything. I thought it was dance. Like She Bop. Bop is a dance.
Correct.
And I was like, oh, she's dancing. Yes, I was in the same ilk as you. I wasn't a big Cyndi Lauper listener. I saw her on MTV, whatever was on the radio, so I had heard the song, but I was a kid. I wasn't sitting there listening to the lyrics and studying them, so I didn't go, oh, what's she talking about? What's she talking about? What's she talking about? She bop. She's dancing. Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough for me.
Right.
It was about the music. Yeah.
I didn't think anything different or know what the heck, like I said, until years later on or whatever, somebody said, oh, it's about masturbation, or I read something and I was like, oh, okay. So sticking with the girls' view, and I think this is the last non-rock song, the Mary Jane Girls, In My House, that song.
Yes.
Which is about, profanity and sexually explicit lyrics. I didn't know that or maybe I did. They were Rick James' backup girls, and he decided to write some songs for them and put them in the limelight.
Yes. Here I'll quote a lyric. I'll satisfy your every need and every fantasy you think up.
Yeah, that's not that Rick James, man.
Yeah. I'm Rick James, bitch. But yeah, anyway, so I wasn't a big Mary Jane's girl. I think that they were short-lived. Mm-hmm. I think that was probably the only song that anybody ever heard from them. They came and went. I don't know if we need to spend any more time talking about that one.
No, same thing. We knew to be the title, In My House. What the hell? How is that sexually explicit? Yeah. Now, the lyrics of In My House, this is where we do our nasty things. Then, yeah.
I think we can just kind of move on from them. The Mary Jane Girls, they didn't really. I kind of feel sometimes, they were really searching for lyrics and trying to kind of make things fit into their PMRC agenda.
Correct.
One more song I just want to talk about quick, you guys. I think we're gonna go ahead and we're hitting up against the 50-minute mark in this episode. I think we're gonna go ahead and maybe talk about one more song. Kind of talk about the rest, maybe go into some album covers, talk about, the whole 2 Live Crew live performance things and their albums in Florida and the censorship there. And
got it.
I think maybe we talk about one more album each. We finish off the list. We'll hit the last 2 or 3 on the next episode.
Okay.
And then we'll go ahead and go on. So the next one that I want to talk about here is our good old boys, AC/DC. The song is
Yeah.
Let Me Put My Love Into You. All right, I'll give it to him.
Yeah,
I mean,
plain and simple, right?
Plain
I mean,
and
that
simple,
isn't.
plain and simple.
It isn't more of the sexuality and profanity. That's on the list.
Let
man.
me
It's just-
let me cut your cake with my knife. I mean, how more innuendo
Right?
can it get? Yes, I heard that song.
Let me drive my
today.
car in your garage. I don't know, man.
I guess, dude. Great song. It's on the Back in Black album, the first album with Brian Johnson from 1980. It's a great song. Fits right in there. I don't think it's overtly sexual. It never comes out and says anything. It's innuendos. If you're a youth, you probably wouldn't get it. But I think it's a great song. You know, just
Yeah, I like it too, man. It's a great song, man. It's rock and roll. Now, did you know Angus Young told People magazine, rock and roll is about one simple thing, freedom. He said, when someone tries to murder their freedom, we're against it. Meaning PMRC.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we're artists. We want to sing about stuff, whether we want to sing about drinking, whether we want to sing about driving down to the highway to hell, we want to sing about putting our love in something or somebody.
into you.
And you, that's what it is. It's freedom.
Yeah.
They're artists. We both agree. Art is art, and your interpretation of it is yours.
Yeah.
Don't let people tell you what to do.
A lot of times it sounds like things were twisted, things were meant one way, and I know we keep going back to it because it's really like, he's kind of like the main person that was kind of out there that was Dee Snider. It's like, that's not even what we're singing about. What are you talking about? You're the one twisting it. And I think I'm not an idiot. Most of these songs are about what the PMRC said they were about, but no one is overtly coming out and saying these things like, I want to go balls deep. No one's saying, I'm not hearing, it explicitly, it's cut your cake with my knife or come into my house or melt my sugar walls. Okay. It's not, explicit. It's innuendo. I'm not in a fuss about it.
Okay. None of these artists ever, or the PMRC never really heard any Steel Panther albums.
Oh, yeah, they weren't around long enough. They weren't around long enough for no Steel Panther.
That's for a different episode.
That's for another show.
And a different story. Yeah, Steel Panther. Oh, I know we haven't talked about them. We've done 10 long episodes, but Steel Panther. Listen to them.
We'll get into them.
Yeah.
We'll get into them for sure. Okay, guys, you know what? We're going to go ahead and end this episode. First episode, PMRC.
Yes.
Get a hold of us on Twitter is at BigTalkCG. Email BigTalkCG@gmail.com. Now on Instagram, we are BigTalkCG.podcast.
Yes.
Just search us up at BigTalkCG. You'll find us there. And I don't know, you got anything else you want to add? Hey, I will say this. Email, comment, all that kind of stuff. You get the 12-year-old back on here. She'll be reading them off.
There you go. We love you, nation. Please come back, listen, talk, rock, have a good time. Until next time, this is Gregg.
This is Chris.
See ya.